We are now live on the Power Entrepreneur, and we are about to get motivated. So let's
go. Happen. We're getting motivated. Here we are with our guest speaker for the Today Show, Joe Apfelbaum from Ajax Union and B2B Marketing. So Joe, tell us a little bit about your past childhood, in short.
My past childhood, like the one before this
lifetime?
Like
the one before this lifetime, yeah.
So when I was young, I remember, I went to yeshiva in Lubavitch Yeshiva in Ocean Parkway. And that taught me a lot about life. Because you basically had to fend for yourself. It was like a jungle. Like the yeshiva was kind of like people, a lot of chaos going on. And I remember that I learned a lot of street skills over there in yeshiva. I learned how to sell. I learned how to protect myself. It wasn't kind of like a public school or anything, but it was rough. Yeshiva was rough. I remember it being rough on some kids, and some kids were pretty emotionally injured from it. I became a little more resilient from it. But growing up, I remember going to my mother's store. One of the, we talk about entrepreneurship. I have some memories of me selling sandwiches in yeshiva and mazes and things like that. But really having a business, I looked at my mother's store as a real business. So she had a store on the Lower East Side. I don't know if you're familiar with Orchard Street. And I remember going to her store on Sundays and watching her really work hard. She was working 10, 15, 20, sometimes more than 20 hours, waking up really, really early and coming home, closing the store really, really late. Sometimes she would wait till after midnight for a client, especially if they wanted to spend a few $1,000s buying clothing. She had a boutique clothing store. And I remember looking at her and thinking to myself, I don't know that people need to work this hard in order to really make it. Like, she was working so hard, and after 10 years of busting her tuchus and going from one store to 3 stores to getting a store that's doing a few $100,000 a year, eventually 9/11 happened and she went out of business. And I always wondered to myself, why does this happen? How does somebody just go out of business like that? And when I launched my business, I was able to get to over $1 million within 18 months of me launching it. And when I did studies, I realized that most businesses don't do that. Most businesses are doing a few $100,000, and that's kind of where they are, and that's where they stay for a really long time. And when I started looking at what happened in my mother's store, I started realizing that she lacked certain things. And there were certain things, for example, I'll give you an example, luck. She was always into luck. She would buy all her kids' lottery tickets when we were younger on our birthdays. It's your birthday, you're going to win the lotto. It's going to happen. And one of the things that I studied about luck is luck is it's a real thing. It happens. It's a thing, right? We all get lucky. Chance happens, and it's all part of life. But luck will make you a living. Luck won't make you a fortune. So I always tell people, luck is a great thing, but it's not a great strategy. You need to have a strategy, a plan. And so if you get lucky enough to get the right client, at least you have a plan now to close the client and to be able to do what you need to do. If you get lucky enough to get in front of the right person, now at least you're saying the right things because you have a strategy and you know what you want. And most people don't know what they want in life. And I certainly didn't know what I wanted, but I did know that I wanted to be an entrepreneur, that I wanted to make a lot of money, I wanted to be successful, and I wanted to help other people. I was always into this thing called chesed. I always wanted to help people. From a very young age, I wasn't the type of person that liked to learn a lot. I liked to learn about the world, and I'm very, very curious, but I didn't I wasn't like a bookworm, wanting to learn Gemara and learn Torah all day, although I did learn that stuff, but it wasn't my biggest priority. My priority is how can I help the people around? So I was always the person who made people laugh when people were down. I was always the type of person growing up that was the person who tried to do things. I was the doer. How can we do things? How can we change around the classroom? How can we change around the yeshiva? How can we change around everything that's going on? And some people don't like that. Some people don't like change. My mother didn't really love change. She used to say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And I was like, Ma, you are broke. It's time to fix it. So that, those are some memories of my childhood.
So let me ask you, how did you get started into marketing? And when you started into marketing, you helped market your mother's business?
So I did help her. She didn't want a website. I was obsessed with building websites. So one of the things that I love doing is technology, getting into the code and messing with things and manipulating. Give me a sense of control. So I started messing with computers. I was doing IT services, and I also started messing with web design. Started building websites. I kind of did both at the same time. because I was like a troubleshooter. You build a website, something doesn't work, and you try to do this, you try to do that, and it doesn't work, and this doesn't work, and that doesn't work, and you try to eliminate everything. It's kind of like a video game. It's a puzzle for me. So I'm like, Mom, let me build you a website. She's like, no, we don't need websites. We need people to walk into the store and buy things. We don't need websites. I'm like, okay, I'm not going to build you a website. Relax. I'll build it. All the stores around her I built websites for, and I didn't build her a website because she didn't want one. So I remember there was a company called Joe's Fabrics. I built him a website. And I built him the website. And he's like, great, now we have a website. We're going to make so much money. And I built it for free because it was just a fun thing. I didn't charge him. He's like, we're going to build it up. So he comes to me one day. He's like, Joe, you built a website, but nobody's coming to the website. I looked at the statistics because I set them up with analytics. Not Google Analytics back then. It was some other analytics. And he's like, nobody came. So I was like, so he told me, he's like, isn't the saying if you build it, they will come? I was like, yeah, that is the saying, but that's not a true saying. You built it, and they didn't come. Nobody showed up. So I started doing research, and I realized it's not if you build it, they will come. If you market it, they will come. So I started realizing you have to market yourself. You have to market your business. So I started researching how do you market a website. I learned about SEO. I learned about PPC. I learned about social media. I learned about email marketing. I learned about affiliate marketing. I learned about networking and referral building and boom, 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 funnels. And before you know it, I started helping people market. And I also realized another thing, that building websites is kind of like you build a website and you walk away. One of the things that I learned through my journey of entrepreneurship before I even launched this business is that I want reoccurring revenue. I want, when I close a client, I want that client to be a client for life. I want a client to just spend money with me every single month. And that's really how I was able to go from having 5-figure businesses and 6-figure businesses to multiple 7-figure businesses. That's how I realized, like, wow, this is what the companies are. Monthly reoccurring revenue is where it's at. So whenever I look at businesses now, I try to figure out, okay, where are you making money? And if they're stuck in like the 100, 200K range, oftentimes they don't have recurring revenue, so they have to keep selling over and over and over and over. And in any business, sometimes recurring revenue can be every 3 years, like in a car leasing company, it's all recurring revenue. Every 3 years, you release your car. The issue is, most people are not calling people in between to try to figure out, do you need another car? Do you still like us? How is your car? Like, most people don't call. I lease from 2 separate companies. None of them call me in between asking me how I'm doing and if I intend on releasing by then and how I'm doing in general. They don't. And they're missing out on an opportunity because the person that does that, I might want to lease from them instead because I have that personal contact. And both of them don't email me. They don't email me on a regular basis. And they're not in front of me on social media. Like, I'm thinking about this right now as we're talking. This is this is annual recurring revenue, and they're not in front of me. And sometimes I wonder, like, what is up with people? Why are people not doing that? And the answer is because they're busy in their business, not working on their business. So that's another thing that I learned, monthly recurring revenue, and then work on your business. So I keep going on for a really long time talking about this, but I'll let you know.
No, yeah, for sure. So now let me ask you, so you would pay that extra couple dollars for that customer service?
I don't know if I would pay that extra couple of dollars, but I would have more customer loyalty. I don't know that I would want to pay more for it. I want the best possible price around, and I want to know that I'm not getting scammed, and I want them to make a good living off it. But don't charge me more. Don't charge me more because you're giving me good customer service. Give me good customer service because you're a good company. I don't necessarily want to pay more for it. If I can get it for less, I'll pay less for it. Obviously, I always want to try to get the best possible deal. But if the best possible deal means that I'm going to have worse service and it's not going to be convenient, then I'm maybe willing to pay a little bit more to have better service, but I'd rather get the good service and get the best deal, if that's even possible. And I believe that it is possible. There's no reason why they can't have a system where they call me every X amount of months, but they don't.
So as we spoke before, you mentioned that you lost like about 100 and something pounds.
I lost 95 pounds over the past 5 years. And when I started public speaking, I was very overweight. I was 265 pounds. So think about that. A guy like me, 265 pounds, I was pretty heavy. So if you go to my social media, you'll see I was walking around, and that's when I kind of started to like get out there. So I have a video that I just shared recently of myself just like starting. I walked 3 miles, and I was all proud. I was like, "Hi everyone, quick update. I just walked 3 miles. Okay, bye." I was like so awkward and so not passionate and so reserved, but I had a lot of weight on me. Right? Think about it. A 5-gallon bottle of water. We have a couple 5 gallons there. If you lift one up, how much do you think it weighs? How much do you think?
About a pound and a half.
About a pound and a half? No, it's more. A 5-gallon bottle of water weighs 40 pounds. So if you lift it up, it weighs
5 gallon bottle.
5 gallon, yeah, 40 pounds. 40 pounds. I had close to 3 of those on me every day while I walked up the. Can you imagine walking up with 2 of them? Just walk. I want you to later. We'll do this. You'll pick up 2 of them and just pick it up and hold it there. 80 pounds, and think about how much pressure that is on your body. And if you can relieve that pressure and noise from your body, how much more energy do you have? So I had so much energy to eat from Kosher Delight and eat from Nosh Express and from all these places, and I was just eating and eating and eating and eating because I thought that energy comes from food. I haven't eaten anything yet since dinner last night. And I am freaking energized. I ran 3 miles this morning. I feel amazing. I did my motivation. I'm up to 830 minutes of motivation on my Facebook group this year alone. I already did the stock market. I'm already complete with all my employees, with my clients. I already spoke to a client that hopefully will spend $100,000 with us this year. Like, life is good. I'm feeling great. I said good morning to all my kids. I woke them up because if I don't wake them up, I'm their alarm clock. They don't hear alarm clocks. But I make sure they get out of bed in the morning. I gave them all kisses, and I'm out. And I used to think, I got to eat this massive breakfast with bagels and lox and tuna fish and like
breakfast specials.
Exactly. I used to go to the bagel shop, give me a dozen bagels. I want a dozen bagels. I wouldn't eat the whole dozen, but I would share with everyone.
It was a deal, you know.
You got to get a dozen, a baker's dozen. Anyway, so energy doesn't come from food. Energy comes from water. So you got to drink up. If you're not hydrated, you can't get motivated if you're not hydrated, so you got to drink up. So, I got almost no water left. That's fine. The energy's still up. I have enough water in my system.
So let me ask you, what made you bridge from average Joe to Mojo?
So I say from average Joe to CEO. How did I go from average Joe to CEO? How did I get to this motivation level? I think it was a combination of awareness, strategy, and accountability. So when I coach people, now I recently started coaching people because people have been asking me, Joe, coach me, how'd you get there? And I get a lot of fulfillment by helping people be able to get to the next level. I tell people that most human beings are walking around in a state of non-awareness. So essentially, the difference between a human and an animal is that an animal has emotions, right? They're strong, they eat, they poop, they do all the things humans do, but they're not aware. They don't know that they exist. So they can't really improve themselves. Humans can improve animals, but animals can't really improve themselves. You can't become a better animal yourself. A human can train an animal to create new habits, and the animal can then do cool tricks. Like, a horse can start taking people around in carriages, and they can start being productive, and a cow can plow a field or whatever. You can do things with it, right? If you train it. A human's aware. A human can self-program themselves. You can literally program yourself to be, do, and have anything that you want in your life. So that's magical, but people are not aware that they can do that, so they're left in the default programming that they got from their parents. So things just start repeating themselves over and over, and you start just doing the same thing over and over. Now, if you do the same thing over and over and you expect different results, what are you?
Robot.
A robot. Albert Einstein says you're insane. That's the definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting that the results will change. The results are not going to change. So if you want better results, what do you got to do? You got to do something different. In order to do something different, you got to be aware that you're doing the same thing over and over and over. Most people brush their teeth in the morning, right? Do you guys brush your teeth in the morning? You brush your teeth? Are you aware that you even brushed it before I said that? No, you just did it. You didn't think about it. I made my bed this morning. I used to not make my bed. I created a new habit to make my bed. One Pesach program I went to in Athens. In Aspen, not Athens, in Aspen, in whatever, by the, where people ski, in Colorado. And this rabbi got up and he told a whole story about, if you want to be better in life, you got to make your bed. He's like, how many of you make your bed? And everyone's like, I'm in a hotel, I don't make my bed. Anyway, I realized I don't make my bed. And also I got that epiphany, right? You got that moment, I'm like, I don't make my bed. Let me see if I can just start making my bed. So for 30 days I started making my bed. That day in the hotel, I made the bed. I didn't make it as good as the lady that came in later made it perfect, but I started. And 6 months later, like I was telling somebody the story, and I was like, "Hang on, did I make my bed?" I ran into my room to check if I made my bed, and I freaking made my bed. We're creatures of habits. We don't think about the things that we do. We're not even aware that we have everything you do is a habit. The way that I'm talking now in this video is a habit. I got into the habit of being able to communicate effectively. Most people don't have the habit. They're in their head. They're thinking the same thoughts. How can I survive? I'm hungry. I got to go to the bathroom. All the same stuff in their head. Why did my wife say this to me? Why did my husband say this to me? Why did that guy cut me off? I can't believe it. My mother, my aunt, my grandmother. Wow, that's so expensive. Where can I get real estate? How can I make a living? Like all these things, the same thoughts over and over and over. You want to change your life, change your thoughts. You change your thoughts, you change your feelings. You change your feelings, you change your actions. You change your actions, you change your habits. You change your habits, you change who you are. I changed my habits. I don't eat like a chazer anymore. I don't eat like a ferret anymore. I don't fress. And when I do, I pay for it. Because every single day I get on the scale and I ask myself, how am I doing today? So I have 7 rules in life. I have 7 things that I do every single day. There are 7 things. We'll talk about it more, but I want to get through the questions.
Hold on. I think we disconnected here.
I can keep going on for hours.
Okay, so let me ask you.
I have a hard stop at 11:30. I have a call, so let's just finish in like 20 minutes. Is that cool?
Yeah. That's perfect. Okay, we're over here. Okay, so let me ask you.
And I can answer shorter. If you want me to answer shorter, I can answer questions shorter.
No. Please elaborate. Don't worry.
Okay, good.
It's like, okay, so what kind of challenges do you have like in your everyday life, and how do you overcome them? Whether it's business and the personal life, personal issues.
So the question was, what type of challenges do I have in my personal life, my business? In general, the biggest challenge I have is supporting other people, supporting my staff, supporting my wife, supporting my kids, supporting society. There's something called being complete. When a person gets to a level where they're complete with themselves, you feel complete. Now it's time to ask yourself, are you complete with others? Are you complete with your wife? Are you complete with your husband? Are you complete with your life, with the people in your life, with your employees? And oftentimes you realize, I can be complete with myself, but I'm not complete with other people. So for me, my challenges lie around being complete, having integrity with other people. So if I say I'm going to do something, did I do it? I have something called promise management. I need to manage my promises, right? So if I tell my wife I'm going to be home at da-da-da-da, or I'm going to do da-da-da-da, that's something that's important that I have to kind of like maintain. And sometimes I put my business first, and so my family life might struggle a little bit, or I put my family first, and my business might struggle. So it's kind of like finding the yin and the yang, the balance between spirituality and physicality, of work and home, of health and productivity. So kind of saying, okay, I need to take care of my health, right? So it's a priority for me to go running every single day. I want to be able to run, to get out there and to just exercise a little bit. Activity doesn't equal productivity. So I have to understand what are the activities that I need to do in order for me to be productive. And sometimes I find myself doing the same old, and I get stuck in that rut, but I get myself out of it because I journal, and because I meditate, and because I put myself into the zone. I work with a coach. Yeah, meditation, people think meditation is about not thinking. How can I think about nothing? Meditation is not about not thinking. Meditation is about breathing. Meditation's about noticing. Meditation's about becoming aware. Becoming aware. If you can become aware of how you feel, if you can become aware of how your hands are right now, how your feet are right now, how your shoulders are right now, how your forehead is right now. A lot of people put a lot of pressure on their forehead, a lot of pressure. And they walk around all day like this. Or like this. And that creates a tremendous amount of pressure there on their attention, their ability to give attention to the things that matter. Because your attention's right here. Bein einecha is where your attention is. Between your eyes, that's where your attention is. And they say where attention goes, energy flows. You flow your energy where your focus goes, right? Where your attention goes. So what are you paying attention to? So for me, I got to guard my attention and put my attention on my priorities. And if I can do that, I have all the time in the world. That's why I have the time to do things like this, because I know what my priorities are. I outline my day. I outline my week before the week starts. I prepare my week. I look back at the previous week. I spend an hour doing this every Friday. I look back at the previous week, and I look forward at the next week, and I make sure that I'm finished. I'm complete with all the people that I needed to be complete with, all the events that I had, all the promises that I made, all the people that I said I would blah, 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 blah. I invited 50 people to a networking event next week. Only 7 responded, which is cool. Half of them said no, half of them said, so 3.5 people are coming with me because one of them said maybe. So I need to go in there now and add them to the event place, or have my administrative assistant do it, but she's busy doing other priorities and I don't want to take her away from that. And so I have to remind them and let them know to come and make sure that they get their chicken or their whatever. I'm a host, right? So this is what I need to do. And then I need to follow up with the other 40 people and say, hey, listen, I have enough guests for this one, but you can come May 10th with me to the Harvard Club, where I'm doing it again if you want to come. So I got to follow up with them. And life for me, one of the biggest challenges with networking, with employees, with life, is follow up. Follow up. If you don't follow up, then nothing moves forward. People say, well, they should have called me. Ever have a sales rep tell you, well, they should have called me?
Yeah.
They're obviously not interested. It's not that they're not interested, it's that they have other priorities. So the key for us is to learn how to follow up. Follow up.
So right now, if somebody calls you and he wants your business, how often do you follow up?
I asked them permission. So the guy that I spoke to today, this morning at 9:30 a.m., I had a call. I was on my bike. I was having a blast in Prospect Park on the way here. And we were having a conversation. At the end of the conversation, he said he needs to get the budget approved. Okay, great. He needs to get the budget approved. Reasonable, right? He needs to go get the budget approved. So we first negotiated to figure out where he's really at and what he thinks he can get approved. And once we got to a number that made sense, I then said, okay, go get the budget approved. Can I call you tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. just to confirm?
We have to.
He's like, I don't know. It was like, okay, does that sound like it might be too soon? It might be a little too soon. I was like, will you follow up with me? He said, yes, I'll follow up with you. And then I asked him the following question. If you don't follow up with me by Thursday, do I have permission to reach out to you and call you on your cell phone? And if you don't pick up, can I text you and email you?
Directly? He
said, yes. You have permission. I now have permission to become a stalker. He gave me permission to call him, email him, and text him. And I will do that. Because now I have one client that I know that I will close this deal if I can follow up enough. Now, chances are he may not get the budget approved. There's a chance, right? There's a chance he won't get it approved. Chances are he won't pick up my phone call. He won't pick up my text. He won't get my email. But am I going to back down? No, I'm not going to back down until he says I didn't get the budget approved. And then at that point, I'm not going to back down either. I'm going to be like, why? What happened? What happened? What did you get approved? What can you get approved? Who did you speak to? Who else can we speak to? What do we need to prove to them in order to get it approved? That's the idea. Never take no for an answer, because no is never really a no. It's all about not yet. It's really not yet. It's not no, it's not yet. You haven't delivered enough value. There isn't enough trust. I'm not ready for whatever reason. Not yet. So if I can find out what's behind the no, what's behind the not yet, then I can make it a yes. I can take a not yet and go for yes. Oftentimes you get satisfied with a maybe because at least it's not a no. Hell no. It's got to be either a hell yes or a hell no. So until it's a hell no, if it's just a no, then for me it's a not yet. All right, I'm fine. I have patience. I'm the ultimate PhD. I'm the ultimate doctor. I have a PhD in results. I have patience. Lots of patience. That's how you're successful. You like that? You like what we did there?
Yeah, I like what you did there. So when we spoke before, that you said that you had a fear of public speaking in the beginning. So let me ask you, can you elaborate about what you felt and how you overcame that fear?
I felt scared. I didn't know I was scared. I felt scared, really scared, to the core of my being. How do you know when you're scared? When you lock up. When you're suddenly like, oh my God.
Perfect.
Oh, I can't breathe. You're so scared. Have you ever been so scared like you were going to die? Have you ever been so scared? Has anybody ever put a knife to your neck or a gun to your head?
I've had a gun.
A gun? Have you ever been so scared you're like really scared? Not shocked, but scared. That's how I felt. I felt like, oh my God, like a lump in my throat. Have you ever lost a child? Or somebody, you're not sure where they are and you're like so scared? That's how you feel. So when you get up in front of strangers, you feel like you're going to die because you feel like you're committing social suicide. You're like, oh my God, it's social suicide for me to get up and talk because I'm not having anything valuable to say. But those are lies. Fear stands for false evidence that appears real. False evidence that appears real. It's not real. It's not truth. It's false evidence that appears real. So it appears so real that I'm going to die right now. But if you get in front of 100 people and you literally crap your pants in front of everyone, are you going to die? No, you're going to be a little ashamed and embarrassed, and everyone will laugh, and it'll be funny, and clean up on aisle 5, and they'll get you out, right? But at the end of the day, you're not going to die, but we feel like we're going to die. And that's why 90% of people can't get up on a stage. They won't do it. They won't do it no matter what. It's like putting a gun to their head. They actually would rather die. They'd rather die than get in front of a stage. Literally, people would rather die. They have a greater fear of public speaking than death. Most people do. That's a statistic. Greater fear of public speaking. Why? Because judgment is the ultimate death. When somebody tells you, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're bad, you're not good enough, you don't deserve love, that's the ultimate, and that's what we feel when we get up in front of other people because it's just what's going on inside us. And when we get in front of, it's kind of like money. Money's the ultimate accelerant. If you're a good person, you're going to be a great person. If you're a bad person, give them money, what are they going to do with it? They're going to burn the town down, maybe. They're going to burn it down, right? So money is the ultimate accelerant. Money's not bad. Money's just a tool. Same thing. Public speaking, I believe, is a personal development accelerant. You get up there, if you're not developed personally, it's going to come out very, very quickly.
Yeah,
and most people are too scared for it to come out. So if you have the courage to get up, I became very aware about my fear. You become aware of your fear, and you start asking, why am I afraid? What's going on? Then I started searching and researching how you become a better public speaker. Then you need personal development. How do you do personal development? You work on yourself. You got to start having real integrity, real authenticity. You got to start really being passionate. You got to start really connecting with other people. You don't connect with other people, it doesn't work.
So we should have that.
You get up there and just monotonely talk and not put yourself fully out there. People get it. You know when I'm fully here. You know when I'm alive. You feel my energy. I'm real. I'm the real deal. Versus somebody else kind of just faking it and sitting back and having their hands on their butt and kind of just like, talking about, dude, you don't want to hear that. You want to hear the guy that's on, that's lit. L-I-T. Lit. That's what you want. You want someone that's lit on stage. You want a rock star. A rock star doesn't have to be pretty.
Awesome.
Have you ever seen
Most
a rock
of them
star
are
that's
ugly.
ugly? Have you ever seen?
Most
Have you ever
of them
heard
are
of a
ugly.
rock star that has a terrible voice? Terrible voice, but they're so lit. They're so on. They are working that. You're like that. That is what I want. That is what I want to mirror. That is where I want to be. I don't care what he sounds like. I don't care what he looks like. I don't care what he did in his life. I don't care how much drugs he. I don't care any of that. I want that. I want to be part of that. Because that guy's alive, and I want to be alive. And that's what people want. People want to be free. People want to be powerful. People want vitality. People want to express themselves. Public speaking is a powerful way to express yourself. So is dance. So is playing music. There's a lot of different ways to express yourself. But public speaking is a powerful way. So if you're a person that's very vocal, if you're a person that likes to talk with your friends in general and likes to speak, if your love language is words of affirmation, if you're the type of person that has a need to speak and you're suppressing that need, you're going to feel the pressure inside. And if you have a calling towards it and you feel like you want to do it, do it. And the day that you can just be there and be real and just give and just give, that's the day you start feeling alive. And that's what I started doing. And after a lot of practice, I got pretty damn good at it. And I'm proud that I'm good at it. It's not bragging that you become good at something that you actually did. It's not bad to be proud of what you actually did. It's bad to be proud of something you didn't do and take credit for it. That's called egotism or being egotistic because you didn't actually do it and you're all egotistic because you're trying to protect something that's not even yours. But if you walk onto the stage and you just own the stage and you're just authentic, what does it mean to own the stage? It means to own yourself. To self-manage yourself, to feel the overwhelming emotion to cry because you're sharing a very deep story and allow the emotion to come out and for the audience to connect with that. You tell a story that's very, very powerful and you get all welled up and you don't suppress it except you just give it to everybody. That's a gift. That's a gift and everyone feels. You ever feel the chills?
Yeah, of course.
That's a gift. The chills are the gift. So when I speak, sometimes people feel the chills. I don't know how. I don't do it to make people feel the chills, but it's a truth within them that is just like whoosh, energy, like wow. Or sometimes somebody expresses themselves by singing, like Celine Dion or Avraham Fried or somebody, right? I went from one to the other, and you feel the chills. They're like, oh my God, it's a beautiful voice. Why? What happened there? They fully expressed themselves, and I felt it. And that
was there somebody who you looked up?
Rabbi Jacobson.
Rabbi YY?
Rabbi YY Jacobson. I went to him and I was like, dude, how do you speak? I have no idea how do you do it? How are you so authentic? How are you so rich? So he sent me a video and I asked him a lot of questions. And then every single public speaker I've ever met, I walked over to them. I said, you are an excellent speaker. How did you learn? What did you do? They told me what books to read. They told me what to do. They told me each one. I said, give me one tip. Give me one tip right now. Over and over and over. And I do a few seminars every single month. Every month I do a few seminars. So, and I'm on social media every single day. Every day I'm doing this every single day. So it's not like some magical thing that happens. If you're practicing it every day, are you going to be good at it? Of course. If you're doing it every day. I asked Rabbi Jacobson, how are you such a smart, Talmid Chacham? How do you do it? He's like, every day, for 16 hours a day, I learn Torah. Every day for 16 hours a day. And I thought to myself, if I learned Torah for 16 hours a day, would I know how to learn Torah? I would know how to learn Torah pretty damn well if I was so passionate about it and I did it for 16 hours a day. I would be the expert, right? So that's how you become the expert. You do it. You do a lot of it. It's all about action. Action gets you results. Results gets you belief. Belief gets you to do more action.
Let me ask you, at what point did you know that your business would be a huge success, and how did you keep that inspiration and creativity from not falling behind?
I had a partner that I started with, and we pumped each other up. Very simple. We pumped each other up, and every single day, if he was down, I would bring him up, and if I was down, he would bring me up. now the way that I do it, because my partner's no longer in the business, I use coaches. Coaches are the best way to get pumped up. If you're pumped down, get a coach. Pay a coach, hire a coach. Every single thing I wanted to achieve in my life, I hired a coach for it. I wanted to lose weight, I hired a weight loss coach. I hired coaches in every aspect of my life to learn, because if you pay somebody, now you have a contract with somebody. When you want to get married, there's a contract there, right? There's an agreement there. So when I speak publicly, oftentimes I like to get paid in some which way or form. And when I get paid, there's a contract. I need to freaking bring it. I just got paid. I don't care if I got paid $50, $100, $1,000, $10,000. I need to bring it now. There's a contract there. When somebody pays me to coach them, there's a contract there. Go find a coach that works for you, someone that resonates with you, that will coach you. There are people that charge as little as $20 an hour to coach you. You can find people. You can find anyone to coach. I found somebody that I paid $100 an hour to coach me on becoming a writer. Who was she? She was a school teacher that taught high school students how to write. She never coached anyone in her life before, but she's been coaching students all day and all night. And so I hired her from California, and we had phone calls every single month. And I paid her $100 an hour. And for 8 months, I spoke to her, and I didn't write one word. And one day, I read a book by Stephen King called On Writing. And he
about to read on, yeah.
Excellent book. And he writes over there, if you don't write 2,000 words today, you are not a writer. So I was like, gosh darn it, I'm not writing 2,000 words a day. If I want to be a writer. So that day, I committed. I started writing 2,000 words a day, and I wrote 40,000 words in 20 days. 40,000 words. That was my first draft of my first dirty draft of Average Joe to CEO. And boom. And it was just like boom. And then I wrote another book, 10,000 words, called High Energy Secrets. You want to find it? Go to highenergysecrets.com. So I am now a writer because I write. I sit down, and it just comes out of me. Every single Sunday for the past 220 weeks, I've sent out an email. Every single Sunday, I've sent out an email. My emails are 500 to 1,000 words.
Emails when like holidays.
6 a.m. on Sunday. Every single 6 a.m. on Sunday it goes out. When do I write it? Probably Mitzvah Shabbos. I sit down. I spend 45 minutes. I let it come out of my system. I'm in the zone. I put on some music. I get in the zone. I jump and dance a little bit, and I sit down. Whatever comes out of my system, I just go until it sounds good. Once it sounds good, I read it twice, 3 times. I paste it in my template. Boom, boom, boom. Schedule for 6 o'clock, and I go do my thing. I've just been doing it over and 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 over. Michael Jordan, how many times did he miss? You know how many shots he got, but you don't know how many times he missed. For every shot he got, he missed 10,000. 10,000! 10,000! Dude, how many shots have you taken? How many shots have you taken on the court? I sat down last summer. We have a place upstate. There's a beautiful basketball court in the community. We have 50 families. And I said, you know what? I want to get better at basketball because I saw that quote from Michael Jordan. I said, I want to get better. So I shot, missed. I said, I'm going to sit here, put on my timer, 2 hours. 2 hours. I will shoot and miss for 2 hours. Within 2 hours, I was like 100 times better than I've ever been in my life. And I was shooting and getting. And I was missing, getting. Like, oh, I just got a 3-pointer. And for 2 hours I went. Then a bunch of guys came onto the court. You know how good I was? Everyone was like, oh, this guy's an animal. You're an animal, Joe. You're an animal. How do you do that? I was like, for 2 hours before you came here, I was practicing. 2 hours. How do you know that practices basketball for 2 hours? Nobody. I never did it. Same thing with laning. I needed to learn to lane. So I said, the average person says it 10, 15 times to learn to lane. I said it 150 times, that little piece. 12 psukim. 150 times. Think about it. If you say something, inside. Inside, you read word for word 100, not by heart. By heart, read it 150 times. Not at once, over the course of 10 weeks. And then get up in front of 150 people that are going to judge you, and for the first time, in front of 150 people that are very cynical and very resigned, you get up and you say, I'm about to lane. And everyone's like, yeah, right. And I'm like, bring it. And then I do it. And everyone's like, whoa. He did it. That guy has cojones. And I don't have cojones. I just practiced a lot. I knew it. I knew it by heart, backwards and forwards. I walked down the street singing in my head. I knew it. But I went and did it. And the same thing, if you do that in your business, if you pick, most entrepreneurs are not focused. They're not focused at all. So if you...
How much time do we have left?
5 minutes. If you don't focus, you will not succeed. You need to learn to focus, pick something, and go for it, and do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And, the first 1,000 clients that we signed up, we signed them on one product. called the Anubi plan. Articles, blogs, classified as directories, social media, social bookmarking. I know the competitive advantage. I must have spoken to 10,000 people about it. We only close 1,000. But it's 1,000 clients, right? It's a lot of clients over the course of X amount of time. If you're going to double your business and be one of the fastest growing companies in America, you got to work your ass off. Not everybody has that ambition. Not everybody has that hunger. And that's why I'm looking for hungry entrepreneurs that want to go from frustration to motivation. And if they want to do that, join my motivation group on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/motivation.
I just did it. You gave me a shout out for joining the group.
Cool.
Thank you for that.
So there are hundreds of members that are part of it and watch my videos. I have 830 minutes of motivation. I'm going for 1,000. So I'm going to get there.
So let me ask you, what do you think is the bridge between a business owner and a power entrepreneur?
The difference in a business owner and an entrepreneur. So people look at entrepreneurs as a person who's kind of like a serial entrepreneur. He constantly has ideas and starting businesses. A business owner is a person who has employees, who has a business, who doesn't necessarily need to be doing all this stuff. They own the business. So there's a worker. There's 4 quadrants. There's a worker, somebody who works an employee. There's self-employed, somebody who's self-employed, yeah. Then there's the person who is a partner in a business, and then there's the owner, right? There's like different levels. I don't remember what the 4 levels are, but they're in his book. And the crazy thing is that I never looked at it that way. I never even knew that an employee is not the same thing as an owner, or that there's, you're going from employee to self-employed, where you're doing the work, to being a partner, where you're kind of doing the work, and you also have employees doing the work, to being an owner, where you're kind of just an investor, right? You're just out of it. So for me, it's all about, are you in the business, or are you outside of the business? If you're just an investor, you're outside of the business. If you're an owner, you're kind of in the business, but you're not doing the work. I'm an owner. I don't do the work for my clients. I'm just sitting here with the employees that sit around, and we went virtual a couple of years ago, and we're going to go fully virtual eventually. So we still have an office, but I want to go fully. I want everyone to work from wherever. And that was my dream. My dream was a few years ago. Listen, I had 75 full-time people, and I was like, I don't want this. I don't want it. I want to have virtual. And so that's what we built. We built where most of our employees are virtual. So that's given me a lot of chizuk. So the difference is, do you live the life that you want, or are you chained down? If you're chained down, then you're not an owner. You're just being owned. That's the thought process.
So what do you think are mistakes that entrepreneurs and business owners tend to do?
A lack of awareness, doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results, relying on luck, not having a plan, not having clear goals, not getting a mentor, not learning, not getting coached, and not helping other people. Go out and help somebody. You want something, go out and help somebody get the same thing, and you'll get it.
What are your thoughts on continued education, and can you recommend
Read books that you read? Read books. For an entrepreneur, read Traction. Start with that. I'm going to give you one book, read Traction. If you're procrastinating, read Getting Things Done. If you want personal development, read Think and Grow Rich. If you want to do sales, read Dale Carnegie's book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. I just give you 4 books. Boom. You're not getting up early, I'm going to give you a bonus. Hal Elrod's book, The Miracle Morning. And those are a bunch of books. And if you want to 10x your energy, go to highenergysecrets.com and get my ebook, High Energy Secrets. Available soon on Amazon. The actual book's right over there, but that's just a thing. It's like whatever.
We'll throw it up there.
Right, so let's just wrap up. How can people get in touch with you to get motivated?
Go to joeapfelbaum.com. Check out my website. On my website, you'll see a link to the Facebook group. Join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/motivation. Join my weekly email newsletter.
I'm trying to.
And listen to my podcast. Just be involved. Connect with me on LinkedIn. I have 1,000 people waiting to connect with me on LinkedIn. I have 10,000 people that are connected with me, and I'm very selective of who I choose. So make sure that you mention that you saw me on The Power Entrepreneur and get
motivated!
Yes!